Okay, so I'm getting ready to make beef stew in the Instapot. Here is my recipe. Wait, no, sorry. That's not the one I want to. That's the one I want. It's a little all over the place, but it was the way that she was doing it. But I'll walk you through the steps. But that's the recipe. So here's what I have. I have a chuck roast. I have to chop it up into 1-inch pieces. I have breadcrumbs. They say flour, but that's basic. And then I have celery and carrots and onions and potatoes. I'm going to put some flour in here. Well, I'm going to put some breadcrumbs in here. Onion powder, celery, cumin, garlic powder, salt, pepper, onion powder, and my grandma's sage from 1988. Someone asked me if I was joking, and no, I'm not joking, bitches. This is legit my grandma's sage. When she died, I got a big box of her stuff from the kitchen, and this was in it. I got a ton of spices. I have some that are even older than this one. Still taste the same. My best friend is here helping me cook, because he's like, oh, Mama, you smell so good. You smell like chuck roast. So I've got the chuck roast cubed into 1-inch cubes. I'm going to add my seasoning and my breadcrumbs to this bowl. I'm going to dredge it in the flour mixture, well, the breadcrumb mixture. And then I'm going to saute it in the pot. But I also want to show this. So these are the pieces of the chuck roast that are just mostly fat. And most people would just throw these away, but I'm not going to throw them away. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to dredge these first, seasoning and all. And then they go to my best friend. Because he's always by my side. He's always got my back. So instead of just throwing them away, I'm going to give them to him. Actually, I'm glad that I did that with the test strips because it's not even ready yet. So while it's waiting, I'm going to clean up. Clean as you go. You hear it? They're doing their thing. But this little piece over here, he's way too big. All right, so I told y'all I was going to do a video today on how to clean out your dishwasher because my dishwasher is making a funny noise, and sometimes when that happens, it's just because it's gotten food stuck in it, and it's really easy to clean. So you just want to pull out your drawer, and I'm using the same to clean out my fridge, and you just get a box of baking soda and sprinkle it on the bottom, just like this. Yeah, just go nuts. You can never have too much. The next thing you want to get is a thing of distilled white vinegar. I used to buy the big one because I use it for cleaning, but if you have a smaller one, that's fine. You just need a cup of it. Mine's pretty nasty, so I used about 1.5 cups. But all you want to do is put your cup right here in the middle on the top row. It's important that it be on the top row. And then you just run your dishwasher like you normally would. And let's hope that that sound goes away when I do this. Okay, so this is what it looks like. And y'all, I mean, that is a good sear on that meat. Holy cow. Like, I don't even think I could have gotten that good of a sear with my best pot. Or my best stainless steel saute pan. So I've got the meat in the, I'm sauteing it right now. I want to get it as dark, done as I can. And I probably could have done it in shifts. Done like a layer and done a layer, but it's working just fine. And I want that crust on the bottom. I want that. I want that flavor. I want it. Alright, so now I've got all my meat out. It's over there. I'm going to add 1 thing of tomato sauce to the bottom. 2 heads of garlic, 2 ribs of celery, and a big onion, and I'm going to saute all that up. Okay, I've got my onions and my bell pepper and my garlic and a thing of tomato sauce, and I've also got what was left of the breadcrumbs in there with all the seasoning. So bottom is celery and onions, bread crumbs, seasonings, and tomato paste. On top of that is potatoes and carrots, and I'm about to add the meat. And then I'm going to add 2 cups of beef broth, a little bit, I don't have Worcestershire sauce, but I do have Happy Housewives soy sauce, and a tiny bit of Lowry's. And then I'm also going to add this whole packet of onion soup mix. And I also want to show you guys, because I wasn't kidding, these are all nice and cooked up for my boy. They're cold now, so he can eat them. He couldn't eat them before because they were hot. Hey, cross paws. Put your head down. Cross paws. Cross paw. Cross paw. All right. Dear Lord, thank you for this food, and please be with all the puppies that don't have any. Amen. Amen. Good boy. See? He likes it. He's my good boy. Also, I save all my veggie scraps for my rabbits in my backyard, bitches. Okay, so it's all ready. I added a little bit of more celery because I didn't think I had enough. And I also added the onion soup mix on the top. So now I'm just going to put the lid on, set it. I want to make sure that it's set to sealed. Okay. And then I want to turn it on the meat stew option. That's it. Boom. Let's see how it turns out. There's the music. It's doing its thing. We'll come back. Oh, and I wasn't kidding. So one of the things that I do is I save all of my veggie scraps. Except onions. They don't like onions. They like fruit a lot. So the bunnies really like fruit and veggies. And where I live, my neighbors, they prefer the flowers. And the bunnies eat their flowers, so they poison them. Which is just wrong. I get why, but it's wrong. So I'm always like, come to my yard. See, I just throw it right over the fence. Just like that. See? And I'm always like... So Donna was like, have you ever heard Ani DeFranco? And I said, no, I haven't. And so she played the song Out of Range. And if you've never heard her, I recommend you go to YouTube and you listen to her songs. She's amazing. She's my #1 favorite musician, and that's so hard for me to say because, like, I love Van Morrison, and I love Paul Simon, and I love James Taylor, and I love Hole. Believe it or not, Courtney Love. Yeah. I mean, I love everybody, but if I had to just choose one, it would be Ani. So she played Out of Range for me, and basically the concept is that if you're in a toxic family, if you just get out of range of them, kind of like a radio station, you just drive out of range, they won't have any effect over you anymore. And it's such a simple concept, but no one had ever told me that. And I had no idea that that was a possibility. That I could just leave my toxic family behind and make a life of my own, and that I didn't have to recreate the patterns that my mother had instilled in me that I had to do. So, it wasn't just Ani that she introduced me to, but that changed my whole life. Like, it was the permission and the freedom and everything that I needed to go on and to have the life that I have now, and to not recreate all the patterns of my parents, because I was pretty destined to do that. Lots of kids that grow up in my situation just do that. It's very hard to break cycles. Cycle breaking is one of the hardest fucking things I've ever had to do in my life. And I've done it. My kids have never been in DSS. My kids have never been hungry. My kids are 12 years old and have absolutely no idea what sex is. So nobody's come into their room in the middle of the night and taught them things that they shouldn't be. So I've done my job breaking cycles. But it is not easy. And I could not have done it without her and the Violent Femmes and Indigo Girls and Dave Matthews. And for the record, no, I'm not eating in the bathroom, but my mother-in-law was downstairs in the kitchen making soup, and I just didn't want to deal, so I'm shooting in the bathroom. I'm not eating in the bathroom. There's a beef stew. Y'all, it turned out amazing. Like, amazing! Oh, I so love my Instapot.